lot of people said I was stupid for doing that, but if they only knew the amount of money that thing's made me, they wouldn't be calling me stupid no more. I can assure you that.
It's another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. I am your host, Ryan Deemer, and we've got a pretty interesting guest today. I'm pretty excited to get into a conversation with him. His name is Ryan. He lives in Kentucky, and he's only 23 years old. And ironically, he's been owning a business since he was probably 16, started 15 tinkering around, and has built a nice little debt-free business, which is the key word for today's conversation. So I'm excited to jump into this. Before we introduce Ryan to the show, I just want to remind everybody listening that Skid Steer Nation is your online source for American-made skid steer attachments. Yes, I do own the business. We also interview all the manufacturers. We make sure that their quality is up to our standards, that they have the right customer service, and that they care more about the quality of the product that you receive and the work you're going to do with it than they do a few extra percentage points of profit. So if you're looking for equipment that's going to last and handle the day in and day out use that you put it through, head over to skidsteernation.com and look at the collection of all of our attachments we have available. So without further ado, Mr. Ryan Price, welcome to the show.
Yep. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for taking some time out of your morning today. I know podcast land doesn't really have a relevance of time, but we are the morning after the 4th of July. So I'm sure, did you take the day off yesterday? Or did you go grind and work?
No, I took the day off. We actually been camping all week, so we have pretty much been off all week. So
you need to take a little time every now and then. Yeah, recharge those batteries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to. That's for sure.
So the name of your business is Ryan Price Excavation.
Yep.
You're based in Hawesville, Kentucky.
Correct. Yep.
And what I noticed online looking through your things was it looked like at 15 years old, you found somebody that would actually rent you a skid steer from time to time and you'd go do some small jobs.
Yeah. So there's another guy that lives here in the county that he owns a real big excavating company. And so when I was about 15 or whatever, he would, I would have a few, people just kind of wanting some smaller stuff done and, nothing. I mean, everything I was doing, you could pretty much do with the skid steer. So anyways, I'd hit him up and see if I could borrow his skid steer. And he would let me run it for him for a day or two, however long I needed it. And I actually had one of my buddies, his stepdad had a hot shot business. So all he would do is just, take his pickup truck and gooseneck, and he would just run loads from here to Texas or wherever he was going. But I would call him up, and he would be the one that would haul it for me. So he would haul it where I was needing it to. And then I'd do the work, call him back up. He'd come back up there, pick it up, and then he'd drop it back off where we picked it up from originally. And like I said, I did that for a little while. And then I wound up buying a lawnmower and started mowing yards, doing every little thing I could just to pretty much just keep gas in my truck and keep me going,
Yeah.
So did that. And that was just pretty much how I kind of started getting into it, more or less.
And then at 19, you really pride yourself on saying this, but like you literally went broke, like every dollar you owned broke.
Yeah.
To buy a Mini X.
Yeah, I was. I bought a house when I was 19. I'd bought my house, and about 6 months after that, it probably wasn't even 6 months. It might have been more like 3 months after that. I decided I always just wanted to. That's what I loved doing, was dirt work, and I knew that was what I wanted to do. So I had decided to start up my own business, and actually, me and one of my best friends at the time, we actually started it up together. And I was just kind of sitting on my porch one night, and I was like, you know what, I want to start up my own business, and have something going. So, anyways, my buddy actually just called me while I was sitting on my porch one night and said, "Hey, man, what you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just sitting here looking at excavators on Facebook, And so, anyways, he's like, "Well, you wanted to start up a business or something?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I wanted to, start a business up and get something going." And he said, "Well, shoot." He said, He said, "What if I bought a skid steer and went in with you?" And I was like, "Well," I said, "never thought about it like that." I said, "Man, I guess as long as you got the money," I said, "let's go." So, anyways, I wound up buying a little excavator out. It's about an hour and a half away from where I live. And he wound up buying a skid steer. But anyways, when I bought that little excavator, I was like, I think I paid like 16.5 for it or something like that. But it was everything I had in my name. I had no more money to my name. I mean, I took everything I had out of my bank account. I went and bought that little excavator, and like I said, I mean, I was completely broke. And he wound up buying a skid steer, and we actually worked for about, I don't know, it was probably, I'd say maybe 6, 8 months. We worked together. Then I just realized it wasn't going to work out like that, and so I wanted to just tell him once the end of the year come, I just told him, I said, hey man, I said, I'm going to go out my own. I said, if you want to continue to do what you're doing, I said, that's fine. But I said, I'm going to branch off on my own. I said, we can still do work together, do whatever. But I said, I want my money to be my money. And I said, your money needs to be your money. So I said, let's just kind of separate. He actually wanted to get out of it. And so he actually got out of it. And I wound up, we shut that business down at tax time. We shut it all down. And then I wound up firing up my own and got it going. And then I just kind of ran off with it from there. And I wound up buying a skid steer shortly after I started my own. So finally I had a little mini and a skid steer, and I was just kind of pretty much doing any job I could do, and any way I can make any money with it, I was trying to do it. And so that's what I was doing for about probably a year. And then it was finally, it was starting to finally pan out where I was starting to see some money. I was starting to finally put some money back, and I was kind of, saving money, and I was able to finally go out and buy a dump truck about a year later. And I wound up buying a dump truck, and I was able to pay it off when I bought it. So that was a plus. And then, so now I was able to kind of haul some gravel and pretty much do whatever I need to do.
Yeah. So Ryan, real quick, looking back at that year that you went solo on your own, and you said you're just kind of hustling for anything you could get.
Yeah.
Do you feel that being open to doing any type of job actually made the process longer instead of having like a few different services that you really focused on?
I don't really think so, because, around here where I live at, there's quite a few people around here that kind of do excavating work, so I feel like if you were just going to be, I don't know, if you were just going to be specific on one kind of work, like septics or just lane clearing or whatever you want to do, I just don't feel like you were going to stay as busy, more or less. But if you just do whatever, because I mean, to me, I just found it best to just be open to anything. And if somebody calls you and says, hey, I need a lot cleared off for a house, or I need pond put in, whatever, and you just, as long as you can do all that stuff, I mean, stay open to it. You're going to be way more busy around here, and you'll just, I feel like you're going to, at the end of the day, you're going to have more money coming in versus if you were just going to be specializing in one,
I got you.
Field. But that's my opinion on it. I always like just being open to it, So
today, in the current state of your business, do you still operate that same way as you did when you were 19? Like if somebody calls you to a $300 fix around their property, you still go look at it and try to help them out, or have you changed your philosophy?
No, I'll still do smaller jobs, $500-600 jobs. Now, if it's anything under that, I normally won't even touch them. But I don't even like doing the $500-600 jobs. But I always try to keep some of those put back, and then I kind of normally just push those back towards the end of the year, and then with all my big jobs, I do those up front, and then, like I said, the smaller ones, I just start, push them off the back, and then when I get to them, I get to them, and if I don't, I just, go from there. But I always try to put everything on a pretty good schedule. That way I can, tell exactly, whoever I'm working for, hey, I'll be out there probably middle of June, or hey, it'll probably be towards the end of fall this year before I can get to you, So that way they already, they have a good heads up. And
yep,
I always go out there and look at it and give them I always give them an exact price and what it's going to be. And I try to always come in a little higher than normal. That way I can come in lower at the end. And that's why I tell them up front, that way I got room to cover my butt. And, it's always better for them to hear price coming in lower than what it was, for your original quote. So
I love that. Like, that's a great little tactic. So, coming in a little high, and then, because you could have easily just charged that same higher dollar amount.
Yeah. And you could easily, but
you end up saying, you know what, it took me an hour less than I thought it was going to take, or right. I used less material than I thought I was going to use. So this is the actual price. It's not as high as I said.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge trust builder and great for word of mouth, because they're going to talk about you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's, to me, that's one of the biggest things in that business is, being honest and just staying true to yourself and showing up when you're going to show up. And, when the phone rings, try to, if you can't answer right then there, just get back with them as soon as you can. Or just a simple text saying, "Hey man, I'm tied up at the moment, but I'll give you a call here after a while as soon as I get freed up. But there's a lot of little things I believe that goes a long way and running your own business, because it's all about, like you said, it's all about trust and being honest and showing up.
Yeah. I just had a long conversation with a guy that, excuse me. I just had a long conversation with a guy the other day about this. And, the thing that we forget is that you do the service, like you're doing a service for somebody. You're not selling an actual physical hard product. And if somebody gets a bad taste in their mouth with a service, like they will spread that like wildfire fire.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for you to get back in front of it and get back into the good graces of your community, especially in smaller rural areas. Like if you're in a very large metropolitan area, it's not as important, but like you see these storm chasing roof companies, and they run into towns and try to fix roofs for ridiculous prices. Well, they have to do that because they can't build a community in their town because they're not dependable. They're not trustworthy. The product that they put up is terrible. So, like, going back to what you said, I talked about like that honesty, that commitment, that attention to detail, answering the phone. I can't tell you how many people I know that at the end of the year, like, man, I didn't make any money this year. And I'm like, go look at your phone records. I guarantee you were terrible at calling people back.
Yep. Yep. And I guarantee you that's probably 80% of it right there, because it all starts from the phone, so most of the time that's how it works. It's whether it's, to me, it's, the people are calling me or they're messaging me on Facebook, or, every once in a while, people run into me, at the store or whatever, want me to say, hey, come out and I got a pond I want cleaned out or something, you care to come take a look, but most of the time, 90% of the time, all mine comes from the phone, so
yeah. And then, I don't know. I was looking through your Facebook page, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that your personal Facebook page, you're very active on it, but all of your posts are work related. Like you're not reposting goofy cartoons or memes. You're not talking about like anything that's divisible in the country, and you're not using it like a typical 23-year-old. No, no offense with that comment to you, but like you were using it like it is a tool for your business.
Yeah. 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 And that's how I try to keep that, I'll post, pictures of, my family, whatever, stuff like that. But I try to keep it, I'm pretty much more or less all I do on my actual Facebook page is just share my business stuff and keep it just, let it get out there to more people and let everybody see what I'm doing. Just keep everybody up to date, kind of what I can do and what I've been doing. And, that way if somebody else says, oh, I need something like that done, or, whatever it may be, they can see kind of what I can do and, more or less just help myself out. But
I would say keep doing it. It's going to work out. If it hasn't already, I'm sure it already has, but it will continue to work for you.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm older, and even because of the reach that we have with the store and like now the podcast and stuff, like I'm very particular about what I put on my personal social media pages. Not so much that I'm worried about offending somebody. And you could pull the old, well, it's my social media account. I can post whatever I want. And like, you're right. But then these people choose not to do business with you. It's their choice not to do business with you. So like, I'm very limited as far as what I post. And I'm not a big social media poster, me personally. But again, like if we're at a funny event, or like, you've been out camping and you drink too much and you start taking goofy photos of a fire, stuff like all that stuff there's no place for that, in my opinion, when you own a business on your social media accounts.
Yeah. Yeah. And people see that too. People see that every day, if you're out here acting a fool, or, if they can, social media, that's one thing you'll get judged so hard off social media just because everybody can see it. And the people you don't even think that are seeing it. And I can guarantee it, half the time, they're probably not going to be very happy with it, but I don't know. Like I said, I just try to keep mine clean and just family and business related, and just kind of leave it at that. And, don't get into politics or religious stuff, nothing like that. Just leave everything, let everybody just believe what they want to believe and just leave it at that,
Yep. And all it is a shift in mindset to, this is my social media account, to it's a tool for my business. Yeah. And once you incorporate that it's a tool for your business, like you look at it differently.
Oh yeah. And you do. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You got a little bit more pride in it. You don't want to hurt yourself or your business. So just, more or less.
Yeah, and I've even got mine set up so that like if somebody tags me in something, like a photo from college, like when you're like
Yeah.
it won't go on my wall. Like I have to approve it. So and those never get approved because it doesn't fit the narrative of where I'm at today and the direction I'm going and what's important to me today. Like,
Right.
hey, yeah, that's fun to look at those photos, but we don't need to show 5,000 people that photo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's awesome. And then there's something in your journey that I just thought was great. One that you talked or maneuvered your way into this, and then it worked out for you. But so you've got all your money invested in all this equipment. You're hustling to do jobs all you can do, and you don't even own a trailer. Like you've borrowed a friend's trailer, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
used a borrowed trailer for a whole year.
Yep. Yeah. I had a buddy. Well, he's still my buddy. He actually lives probably, I don't know, just a couple minutes up the road from where I live. And I didn't have a trailer and I didn't have the money to buy a trailer. He had the exact trailer I needed at the time. So I called him up and that's, just pretty much said, hey, man, would you care if I borrowed your trailer for you? I said, I said, whatever happens to it, if anything breaks, whatever, I said, I promise I'll fix it. I said, we can sign up a paper or whatever, some type of agreement, whatever you want to do. I said, I promise I'll take care of it just like it's my own, and, he was like, man, he's like, just come get it whenever you want to come get it. He said, use it whenever. He said, it's just sitting out here in the front yard or whatever. And I was like, well, okay. So anyway, I wound up doing that. And I just used his trailer for, all the time it was every bit of a year, nonstop. And finally, I finally had the money to buy it. So I called him up and I was like, hey, man, you just want to sell this trailer? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you, whatever. He said, heck, you don't want to use it anyways. You might as well just have it, So I wound up buying it off of him and worked out good because then I knew it was mine. I didn't have to worry about anybody taking it from me or whatever. So, but
And I love that you bought that trailer.
yeah,
Because like you could have went out and bought a brand new one or whatever, but like you took care of the guy that took care of you for the last year.
yeah, mm-hmm.
I think that's the part that I really like. But I just love the fact that you had a need, and instead of sitting there and pouting about it or like figuring out how you're going to make the money to go get one, like you got creative and found a way for your business to keep growing. And like really, like we have to sometimes. I don't know about for you, but for me, sometimes I have to remove that pride aspect. Like it's more than okay to ask for help. It's actually more powerful to ask for help than it is.
And you have to. In today's world, you have to. And it's just the way it is. You can't. And especially, if you don't come from a rich family, you just, come up from bare minimum and you're not going to have all these little handouts. You're not going to have people, just reaching out to you. Say, hey, man, just come use my brand new truck to pull your stuff or come get my brand new trailer or, hey, I got a brand new skid steer over here. Come use it anytime. Like, it's just not going to be there. But sometimes you just got to, like you said, you just got to reach out and, say, hey, man, will you let me use it or, whatever. But that's just how it has to go sometimes. But you can get to where you can finally afford some things. But
and again, whether it's something from a financial aspect or anything else, it could be an opportunity to go work on a job or partner with another company. Well, my dog's making her podcast debut. We got a FedEx delivery. I don't know if you can hear him barking over there. But anyway, it's like you have to go out and create your own opportunities. Like you can't sit at home waiting for opportunities to come for you. Like go out and meet the people, make the phone calls, be inquisitive about possible opportunities. Like that's how you grow as a business, is being out and active.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. You have to be willing to. You gotta be willing to get out there and earn it and just pretty much just stay active in what you're doing and as long as you're active and you're doing work and you're talking to new people every day. I think that's where the most opportunities come from is, as long as, you do a job for one guy and, he's like, hey, I got a buddy over here, he's wanting to build a huge lake or something like that or whatever it may be. And, then you wind up getting that job or whatever. You just keep kind of laying it. You just keep kind of falling into place, and wouldn't really call it luck. I guess it is luck, but I think the more you do, the more lucky you're going to be because you're interacting with a whole lot more people and the opportunities become more. So there's kind of a fine line between luck and just hard work, but it does have a little bit of luck in there, I will say. But
and really I view luck as you don't get lucky. Like you create your luck. Like and therefore like you talked about, it's not really luck. You create your opportunities.
Yeah.
You create your connections. You create all of that. You create all of that yourself. And you can't do that if you're closed off, not talking to people, not out and about.
Yep.
So You talked real quickly about, this guy might say he's got a friend that needs this work done or whatever else. Like, do you have, even if it's not really structured, do you have like a referral program or a referral process? Like, do you ask your clients if they have family or friends or anyone else they know that could use your work?
I personally don't really ask anything like that. The only time that ever really comes about is if, I do a job for somebody and they're like, hey, pretty much saying, hey, my friend or my mom or my dad or whatever, whoever it may be, says, they need some work done while you're already out here. They just live right up the road. Do you want to go take a look or whatever? That's kind of how it plays out for me. But I don't try to like ask anybody anything about that. I just let them, if they want something done, I just kind of let them ask me or tell me, and then I'll just go from there, But,
Gotcha. Kind of bouncing around here a little bit, but I noticed that you said that you bought a billboard a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that was kind of really what got the phone ringing quite a bit for you in your area.
Yeah, and it did. They just put up billboards. I don't know. I don't know how. I've probably had this thing for 3 or 4 years now. I don't even know how long I've had it, but I just run it out. I just put it on a contract. That's all I did. But anyway, as soon as they just built these brand new billboards, and anyway, I seen where he was advertising for wanting somebody to put up a sign or whatever. So I just called him up and, told him told him I wanted to put up a sign and asked him how much it would be. And he told me, and I said, all right, send me the bill, do whatever I need to do. And he sent me the contract and stuff, and we got everything filled out, sent over, and paid him up. And after I did that, that really helped me out a bunch. A lot of people said I was stupid for doing that, but if they only knew the amount of money that thing's made me, they wouldn't be calling me stupid no more. I can assure you that, because it has tremendously helped me out a bunch. And I don't think if it wasn't for that, I don't even know if I would be half where I am. Half where I am right now. I just really, honestly, I don't think I would be.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy to look back at like a single decision and then as the owner of the business actually say, wow, without that one decision, I don't know if I'd be half of where I am today. Like, what if I would have said no to that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, and it was a lot of money to do it. And I thought, man, there's so many people drive up and down that road, just tons of people. I don't remember how many people he told me a day, but I mean, it was over like 10, 15,000 people, just in a 12-hour day. I mean, it was insane. I thought, man, it's gotta be worth it. Somebody, there has to be a few people out of that, however many thousands of people drive down that road that's going to need some work done. You know what I mean? So, and it 100%, it paid off, and people were calling, half my phone calls were off that sign. So, I mean, it was working great. And still to this day, I get calls all the time, off that sign. So,
that's
awesome.
It
was probably one of the best things I probably did for my business. That's for sure. So,
yeah. And I get asked that a lot from business owners, like, how should I market my business? And I'm like, man, it is so different based on where you're located, like what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And I don't think that there's like a magic bullet that you can do. Hey, do this one thing and you'll automatically grow your business.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a firm believer in like, you gotta start building a strong brand, because like you see a red background with a white curly line through it. Like you automatically know that's Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Like you see the little smile thing, you know, it's an Amazon package. Like they have built a brand. So like, you've got to start building a brand. And there's not one, like a Google account's not going to do that. A Facebook account's not going to do that. A billboard's not going to do that, but a combination of 2 or 3 different things. And then being true to who you are as a brand with all of your social media posts, with your yard signs, like all of that consistency and time will always build a good brand.
Yep. Yep. You're exactly right. And that's the key to it. You gotta have more than one way of advertising. And of course, around here, word of mouth goes a long way around here, because we're just a small town, and that's a whole lot of it too, just word of mouth. But if you would have sign up kind of like what I got or something like that, I mean, all you're doing is you're just expanding your opportunities, and you're just expanding your workload, and you're just expanding everything you can do. You're just your whole business in general. You're just expanding it. So, I mean, to me, it was, just a good investment, I thought, and figured, I'd probably have some good opportunities come out of it. And it has, I've had some good opportunities. So it was, it's been good.
So in
So
addition to your billboard, how else do you position your company? Like, do you do any other marketing, or do you have a website, or?
no, I had some people reach out to me want them to set up a website for me and all that stuff. But honestly, I didn't. I mean, I wanted to just turn them down because I didn't personally. I just don't see how you can really have a website for an excavating business because, like, just say like if you're hauling gravel or hauling dirt, whatever. I mean, the price of rock and all this stuff changes all the time. So I'm like, I don't know how you could really be realistic on your prices and I just don't think you could have set prices on anything. And I mean, about the only thing I'd be able to do with it is just advertise what I can do. And I thought, well, when I got Facebook and everything else, it's kind of silly to have a website advertising just what I can do because I mean, that's all on my Facebook and everything else. And today's day, that's what everybody goes to. And I just didn't want to spend, you know, the money, whatever it was going to cost to even mess with it. Because
So how?
and I was never going to get on it to keep it up to date. Because I mean,
Yeah,
you know how it is. You get behind and that's the last thing you think about. So
yeah. So how else do you position? Like, how else do you market your business? Do you have like yard signs, business cards, Facebook ads? Like,
yeah,
what are you doing in addition to the billboard?
yeah. So obviously Facebook ads is probably my number one, but like I said, I've got a whole bunch of yard signs. So anytime I do a job and get done with it, I always, ask whoever I'm doing the work for if they care if I stick a sign out in the yard. And well, 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Yep, have at it." So I'll stick a sign out there, and right there by the road or wherever it's at, and I'll do that. And then I got a whole bunch of business cards as well. So like a few of the local places around here, I stick business cards out, and that way, if somebody happens to glance at it, sees it, and they're like, "Oh, well, I might need some work done," they can grab one, whatever. But yeah, pretty much. Other than business signs and business cards and Facebook ads and the billboard, I mean that's the four things I do. So,
But
but
still, that's a strategy. When you're doing more than one thing, like you've got a strategy, and like they all kind of play
yeah,
off each other.
oh yeah, yeah,
Because if I see a billboard on the road and then I drive through town and I see a yard sign in somebody's yard, I'm like, oh, they must have used him for his services. And then I'm on
yeah,
Facebook and I'm tinkering around and something about your business comes up. Like you're hitting me with multiple touch points. And it's not
yeah.
just the same direct touch point. And psychologically, that makes people have a higher level of regard for you and your expertise.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Well, that's awesome, man. So you said some of the worst experiences you've had with work is just breakdowns. Like, and I'm going to assume that always
Yeah.
happens on the one day you really
Yeah.
needed it to go smooth.
Oh yeah. It never. Whenever I'm trying to hurry up and get something done because I got to try to, I got to go to the next job or whatever, and I'm trying to just, I'm trying to work as fast as I can, but as good as I can at the same time. And it's like it'll never fail. Something will always go down. And I was doing a job. Probably, I guess it was probably last month for he's actually my cousin, and he lives over there in Indiana, and I was over there doing some work for him and cleared out a whole big lot for he's building a big hunting cabin or something like that. So we cleared off a bunch of ground up there and put a big driveway in. But anyways, I had my big track go out there, and of course it wound up going down. And then my skid steer broke down 3 different times out there while I was out there trying to work. I mean, it was just, I was calling my mechanic I use. He come out there. Of course, it from his house to where I was working was like, hour away. So he was driving back and forth it was like every day he was going back and forth. Cause I mean, I'd be calling him up, "Hey man, skid steer broke down." He'd be, "All right, I'll come out there, whatever." So he'll come out there and look at it. He wanted him getting her going after we get parts and stuff for it. Well, I'd run it for an hour later. Next thing you know, something happened again and break again. And call him back up. "Hey man, back down again." And it was like it was 3 times it broke down. And finally we got it lined out after the third time. But I mean, that job was supposed to take me like probably 2 days. And I was out there for 2 weeks because it was just one thing after another. So, but we got her all lined out finally, and we wound up getting out of there.
How do you keep your head in a good space when that's going on? Like, you're 4 days over, you've got probably more money in expenses and repairs than you did.
Oh yeah.
Revenue.
Yeah.
Like how do you just wake up in the morning and go, we just got to grind through it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, I lost a lot of money on that job. I lost double than what I got paid on that one. So, but I mean, that's just how it is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, your stuff's going to break. And when you know how it is when any piece of equipment breaks, I mean, it breaks, and it ain't nothing cheap about them. I mean, you might as well say if it goes down, you're already out $1,000. That's pretty much what you're going to be out by the time even if that's not what you're what it costs to fix it. By the time you count, your hours out that you're not working, and then you add up your part costs and your labor for, it always comes out to be at least 1,000. But
and that's the thing. That's the thing I find most business owners don't think about, is they don't think about the hours down. They think about the cash out, or, not being able to go do the next job, but they're not looking at it from, oh, this cost me $1,000 to fix a machine. Well, it really cost you $3,000 because you didn't work for 15 hours.
Right. Yeah.
While you're waiting for that part,
yeah.
So do you I'm going to assume, just because of your backstory, that you were good at saving money because you kept reinvesting it in your business.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you've got, a pile sitting somewhere in case breakdowns happen over else. But do you allocate a certain amount from every job or from hours that you work, or do you just have like a nut that you want to always have in the account? Like, how do you manage that personally?
No, so all my money, I just have strictly a business account. I put everything, all the money I make off that business, everything, I put it all into one account. And then I have a savings account off my actual business account, which is, just a regular checking. But yeah, I always take I always try to keep about, I don't know, probably at least 15-20% of what I actually got in a separate savings account. And that way, if motor blows up, or, undercarriage is bad and I got to replace something, whatever it may be, I've got the money there at all times for, to fix whatever I possibly might, will need to fix. So, but like you said, I don't really have like a percentage I draw out of each check I get or nothing. I just put it all into an account, and then I just try to 15-20%, whatever I have in my account, I just put it back into my actual savings account for, like a savings business account is what it is. But
how often do you do that? Daily, weekly, monthly?
About monthly. Yeah. I normally, about every, I don't know, 2 weeks. So I take all my checks and go to the bank and put them in there. So I'd say it's probably about monthly, but do that. But yeah, but like I said, it works out good. It's always been good for me. And every time something's happened, I've always had the money there to, fix it and keep me going. So
yeah. I'm a big believer that no matter what system you choose that works for you, as long as you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
Like if you only transferred 15-20% like every 6 months because you forgot for 3 or 4 months in a row, that's when you're going to get bit in the ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's the consistency of always balancing out your savings to your checking for you that works for you. Somebody else might want to have it by the hour and then that, but and it might be more labor intensive in a daily process. But it doesn't matter what the system is, it's the consistency and the commitment to it. And we talk about that a lot.
And you're right.
We talk a lot about that with like your sales process and your marketing too, because guys, and I don't know if you fall into this category as well, but like guys will go hot and heavy trying to get Facebook leads and like getting interest for jobs, and they post a lot, and then they're getting all these jobs lined up, and then they've got 5 or 10 jobs lined up. Then they quit posting. They quit making follow-up phone calls, and they just go into a cycle of like a lot of business to no business, a lot of business to no business, instead of saying, hey, while I'm driving to that job, I got to make these 3 phone calls. Yeah. They don't stay consistent with their efforts. They either go all in or all out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, a lot of people do that. And, I was even bad about that myself when I first started. And I just kind of told myself, I'm like, look, I got to start being honest to your customers is the best thing, and just making those phone calls and, shooting a simple text out saying, even if you're just busy, just saying, hey man, I just can't get to you right now. I'll call you back tonight, when I get home, but yeah, just simply if somebody calls you, just calling them back, or, whatever you need to do. But to me, if somebody calls you, you just need to call them back and, talk to them, figure out what they want done, and just go from there. But that's what it turns into. It turns into, driving down the road, everywhere you're driving, you're on the phone, and it's your phone ringing 24/7. And it becomes a headache after a while, but in the end, it always pay off. So, you just got to look at the long run of it, not just the headache part of it. But
how do you not let customers slip through the cracks? Like, do you use a notebook? Do you have like an app on your phone to manage the customers? Like, how are you managing all of your clients?
Yeah. So I actually, all I personally use for me is I just use my notes on my phone, and I just keep anybody that calls, I write everybody down. And then, if somebody leaves me a voicemail, whatever it may be, I'll put their name down, I'll put their number down, and then I'll put like what they were wanting done, and then I'm just simply need to call back or something next to them. But I'll just chart everybody down, and then as I start knocking these people out, getting their jobs done, I'll put how much money I did the job for, and I'll put a check mark if they paid me or not. I'll just kind of log everything in my notes about just, whether or not I've called them back yet, or if I need to call them back, if I've been paid yet, if I haven't been paid. I just keep everything. It's hard for me I just have to kind of show you in order for you to kind of understand it. But I just have my own little way of just kind of logging everybody down and, keeping track of everything I need to keep track of. And
so do you have that in like
the same way with, I say it's just in the same way with people like that, want me to go look at jobs, I just chart them down, and, that way I know I put their address down and whatever they send me, and I'll just, always use that way I know how to get back a hold of them if it's been, 2 weeks down the road and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't remember this guy's phone number. I can just go back to my notes. Boom, I got it. I'll call him right back.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Do you have one long running note, or do you have individual notes for each customer you talk to?
No, I try to keep I keep one. I guess it's more or less just one, but I just kind of organize. It's all organized kind of monthly, and then in the order they've called, whoever calls first, was first, and then it's so on and so forth. But yeah, it's not really no fancy way, I guess you should say, of doing it. But it's just a standard. It's something I can, when I'm driving down the road or something like that, somebody calls, hey, I can hop on it real quick, write them down. I got them. We're good to go, So that's more or less how I even started doing that.
Well, and again, it goes back to finding something that works for you and being consistent with it. Exactly. Because you describing that process, that was a recipe for disaster for me.
Yeah.
Like it would not work for me.
Yeah.
They need to get into a calendar where it reminds me to call them or follow up, or I need to build out those, because in a week from now, when I've got 3 new jobs and I'm working at this, I won't even remember that Tony Smith called me 2 weeks ago and I got to call him back because he was on vacation last week. So I need a little bit more in that regard. But again, it's finding whatever works for you and sticking with the system. I think too many people get stuck in the mindset of looking for the better way of doing it instead of picking a way of doing it and then just committing to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and like I said, I'll use my reminders too. If I have to. But it's kind of like what you said. If somebody needs, they're out or whatever, or they're sick or something like that, then I'll put it down my reminders and say, hey man, need to call this guy back in a week or so, or I'll go a week from when they called me or whatever, and date it to that, and then I'll it'll pop up on my phone, and I'll just give them a simple call and check in, and see how everything's going. See if they're ready to go look at whatever they was wanting to look at or whatever it may be. So
are you still working by yourself, or do you have part-time help or any full-time help with you?
Pretty much just do it all by myself, more or less. I have few people help me here and there, and there's another guy here in the county does dirt work, and me and him, we will tackle a bunch of jobs together as well. So
you partner larger jobs with another company, not like paid labor that works for you.
Correct. Yeah. So
I have a couple guys here locally that did that last year, and they loved it because the quality of the work was at an owner standard, because they were both company owners.
Oh yeah.
Even when they were working on the other person's job, the quality of standards was set as an owner.
Yeah. And it works out great because, if, 2 minds is better than one. So you get two guys out there that know what they're doing, and, like you said, the quality is going to be good, and, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be tickled to death with the end product. So, but and me and him, we love working together. It's always a good time when we're out there working. So we both enjoy it. So it works out good.
So what's next for you, Ryan? Like what's the 3-year vision for your company?
I've been recently wanting to start up a trucking company. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to 100%. I was going to actually start one up a few months ago. I was going to buy a semi and try to put a guy in it and just start running. But I decided to wait a little bit. I'll probably wait till next year. And I think next year I'll probably wind up starting one up and getting one semi and seeing how that goes, and then hopefully keep expanding. But that's kind of where I'm at with it now. And then I've also thought about, I know I'm going to go ahead and do it regardless, but probably going to go ahead and buy a big bucket truck and start doing a bunch of tree work and stuff like that too. And heck, I'd like to even get into doing in-ground pools and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of, I guess, more or less just waiting to get some free time to where I can, put some thought into everything and go figure out what all I need to get done and do and start getting the ball rolling. But yeah, that's kind of, I mean, I don't really have a set plan for my 3 years other than I know I want to expand, so I
Yeah.
just want to keep going.
So I don't know.
Whether it's
I don't know if this will work for you or not, but it works really well for me. It's like if I sit down in front of a white piece of paper and think about my goals and objectives for the next year, 3 years, or 5 years, I have a hard time. Like, oh man, I don't know what my sales should be. I don't know like how many employees. Like, I have a hard time doing it that way. So I like to do is close my eyes and then picture my life 5 years from the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I work backwards. Like, so I work with the big vision and I get the big vision written out and then I create the steps that I think I need to hit in order to reach that 5-year plan. Yeah. But I find that works much more effective for me is like visualizing where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then working backwards from there. And then reminding yourself that the list of steps you made to get there, it's not set in stone. Like it's the roadmap. It's just a guide. So they might change, they might move around and like the whole direction might move. But if you stay consistently looking at it and following that roadmap, then you don't get too far off track and you can kind of readjust and replan.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I used to always tell myself that as long as, pretty much all I ever want to do is just be able to pay my bills. It was all I always told myself. But, now the more I think about it and I'm like, just more I put thought into it, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you should always want more in life than just being able to pay your bills, And I thought, you know what? I was like, you gotta have dreams, you gotta be able to shoot for stars and you gotta have something to keep it moving. So I was like, you know what? Might as well just want to be a millionaire. I mean, you might as well just keep, so, hey, I want to be a millionaire one day. And then, hey, one day, if I hit it, I hit it. If not, hey, I tried. I did everything I could try, But, then if I was to somehow hit it, then from there, hey, I want, let's go for 2 million. Let's just keep going. But I used to be real bad about just telling myself, hey, as long as I can pay my bills, I'll be perfectly happy. Which one, don't get me wrong. Yeah, that's great. You always want to be able to pay your bills, but I never really had like an actual dream or like something that I actually wanted to hit. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go for 1 million,
Yeah.
In today's world, who knows? I mean, honestly, $1 million ain't as much as you think,
Not
about
anymore.
it. So I thought, no, and it's not. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. And I thought, well, if I can hit 1 million, that'd be my all-time biggest goal right there. And then from there, I'm just going to keep going. I just want to keep going up. So
yeah, so I find it's like the evolution, right? Like when you're young and like, especially if you're not coming from an affluent family, like paying your bills, it's the next step. Like I want to not worry about groceries next week, and I don't want to have to check my bank account before I walk into the grocery store. And then you hit that number, and then like that was the goal for so long. Now you're like, I don't know what to do next. And like I think some people kind of flounder there and they get stuck, and then others reassess, build new dreams or new goals. Like you went from paying your bills to having 20% in the savings account, now to having 1 million. So you just keep redefining your goals as you keep climbing that evolution, like the ladder of life, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm at a point in my life now where I'm in my mid 40s where I'm not as money motivated as I was 20 years ago. And now I'm more community and person motivated. Like my goals for my business have switched from dollar amounts that I want to make from it to providing a secure and good life for the people that work for me and that I work with.
Yep. And that's how, and I think over time, that's how it always will go. You will transition into that. And you're not going to be money hungry like what you said. Like, like right now, I guess more or less, I want money hungry, I guess what you could say, because I'm always trying to figure out any way to make any money, So, but, when I'm, like you said, when I'm 45 years old, I'm not going to be out here, taking every job I can get. And, I'm just not, by that time, I'm hoping I'm able to just be like, you know what, pick and choose what I want to do or send a crew out. If I still want to do every call, I'll just send a crew out to, they can go do it, but me personally, I'm hoping I'm not the one that's having to sit there and do that. I hope I can just kind of sit back and, call the shots and figure out, just keep finding this more work, but, also kick back and kind of enjoy my life a little bit more and, just live a little, I guess, instead of just working 24/7. But I know right now,
well,
you
Ryan,
got to put in the time.
I hope this sticks in your brain and it stays with you for a very, very long time. But if you're the one that has to do all the aspects of a job, you don't own a business. You have a job.
Yeah.
So a business is supposed to generate and continue to grow for you without you needing to do everything.
Yep.
So if you don't structure it and plan for that moving forward, it might be 15 years from now, or it doesn't matter. But if you're 50 years old and you're still doing exactly what you're doing today,
yeah,
you just had a really good job your whole life. Like you didn't own a business.
Yeah. So and that's what I was saying. I want to be able to send crews out and let them do all the work. And, obviously I'll still do work, but, I want to be able to kick back and, enjoy myself a little bit too from what I've built up and, be able to, like if I want to go camping next week or if I want to take a whole month off, I want to be able to take a whole month off. And then I want to be able to know every night when I go to bed that, hey, my guys are taking care of my business and I don't have to worry about them, tearing everything up or, not showing up to do jobs when they're supposed to be doing them or whatever the case may be. I just want to be able to, have that foundation laid where I can have that trust more or less.
Yeah. And I think my best advice to people like that have that for vision moving forward is always use the franchise model as a roadmap for your own personal business. It's like when the day comes that you start hiring employees and that you want to start removing yourself from certain aspects of the day to day, like go study franchises. Like they have a system and a process for how to answer the phone, where to close, how to clean the grill, how to do this. Like, and what you're learning is like, it's the framework and process. Like you have to have the frameworks and processes.
Oh yeah.
What's the morning maintenance checklist? How do we get this? Like what tools go with this job? Or like having that out and laid out and defined, that will make the transition from being the solopreneur to the business owner a lot smoother.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what you have to have that. I mean, you got to have a, kind of a set procedure and you got, checklist they can follow off of. And I mean, they just need to know day to day, before they hop into any piece of equipment, hey, I need to check the oil, I need to check the hydraulics, I need to check coolant, I need to check every single thing. I need to grease it. I mean, everything. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's what's going to keep you going. That little 15 minutes out of that first morning, whatever, that's what's going to keep you going on down the road. I mean, you gotta keep everything checked and stay on top of it. Because I mean, like you said, if not, I mean, you're going to crash and burn.
But like you have
a motor up, blow a pump out, or
but like Ryan, you have a checklist. It's just not written down. Like you just know what to do every day.
Yeah.
If you hire an employee, he doesn't know the checklist that you go through.
Right.
And this is where I think
when you don't even know where to check for everything at,
And this is where people that when they start hiring employees, they get so frustrated and like these people are worthless. They don't want to work or they're stupid. It's because we didn't provide them with the roadmap that we created. You've taken these years of all this evolution in your business and now you've got something that works, but we're not giving those tools to the guys that we hire. Like we're setting them up from failure from day one.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are, because I mean, you gotta have it laid out there because, and even if you got it laid out there, you need to walk them through it because I mean, like, it was like I just said a minute ago. They might know how to check it, but I mean, if they don't know where it's at, it ain't getting checked. So I mean, you need to show them, hey, this is the hydraulics, this is the coolant, everything. Yeah. This is where all the grease fittings are. Like, do your best to, check everything, get everything greased up, and But
I worked with a business owner, and he was going through this same thing with some employees, and he was just super frustrated, and he's just like, they just don't get it. And I'm like, and we talked about him not providing him that, and he's just like, well, they shouldn't need it. Like, it's simple. All they do is check this and do that. So I'm like, well, it's simple to you because you do it every day. He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, listen. And we logged in. We were on a Zoom call. We logged into Facebook Ads Manager, not Facebook, but the actual backend Ads Manager. I said, here, create 3 ads for your business and segment them out by male, female, and age, and do this and do that. And he's like, well, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, well, it should be pretty simple, and you can Google how to do it. So, but I don't know how to do it. And I go, this is how your employees feel. I'm like, it's simple to me because this is what I do, right? Like, it's not simple to you because you don't ever do it. Well, it's not simple to them if they haven't done it yet. I'm like, give them the roadmap.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta lay it out there for them, and you just gotta show them, because not everybody's gonna know. I mean, a lot of these people, and I've seen it firsthand. A lot of these guys, they'll say, "Oh, I can run equipment, blah blah blah." So I've had people come work for me, and they say they know how to do all this stuff, but you put them in that excavator or even a skid steer. I mean, you put them in a skid steer, and you can tell. And I mean, the first 10 seconds, you can tell they've never ran one before, or if they have, I mean, it's been a long time or whatever. I mean, you can just tell. And, a lot of people kind of going back to what we were saying, they'll say they know how to do things, but when you put a minute or when the time comes for them to actually check stuff like that, they don't have a clue. I mean,
yeah,
they just say that to get a job. But I mean, of course, you're only going to learn one way in that aspect of it. I mean, that's just seat time. You got to just hop in there and do it. But
I'm a big proponent on like hiring for desire and culture. Like finding people with the same values and morals that you have, somebody that has a desire to want to be doing this industry. Because if you can get those two things out of a person, everything you do in the seat can be taught.
Oh yeah.
But you can't teach a guy to care about a customer.
No, and you can't. And and the people that you got working for you, I mean, that's a big part of your business, because I mean, that's the people, whoever you're doing the work for. I mean, them are the guys that are sitting there. They're watching the guys that you have working for you out there working. And I mean, if they're out here lollygagging around or, just whatever, I mean, they see that, and, they're hurting you and your business. And to me, I feel like if somebody calls me to come do a job, I feel like I should either be the one doing the work, or if I'm not the one doing it, I should be out there helping them do the work, because when somebody calls and want a job done, they want me to come out there and do the job. They don't want some 16-year-old boy out there doing it. They want me to do it, but so I've always kind of stuck to that too. But, that's another reason why I kind of like working by myself more or less, is because, it's always me. I don't have to worry about that. And I've just kind of learned over the years, sometimes it's easier just to do it by yourself. I mean, it sucks in a lot of ways, but in the long run, I don't know. I just feel like it's, I guess, more secure, because I mean, you're just kind of I don't really know how to put it in words, but
I get it.
More or less.
Yeah, I had my first business at 25, and for the first 3 years I had that, my go-to default answer was, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, and a lot. I mean, it's just, I mean, because I've had guys work for me, and I've had them out, doing a little building pad or something, and I'm not even kidding you. I've left to go get a load of gravel or whatever I had to go do, and I just come back to where we were working at, and I mean, completely have the pad just 100% destroyed. I mean, I was just like dumbfounded on how awful it was. And, then here I got the guy out there that owns the place calling me. He's like, "What in the world are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "He should be out there leveling up that pad." And then you got to explain to him that, it's just a whole big process, and it took me 4 times as long. And then I got him; he's mad, and it's just like, if I'd have just done it myself, Then on top of this, I have to pay this guy, even though he just messed up all this, so it's just like, it's a never ending battle whenever you have somebody or people working for you, I guess. But I mean, not everybody's like them. People, and like I said earlier, it's all about seat time. You just got to get out there and do it. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And not everybody's like it. I mean, everybody learns different, but I've just personally learned it's just easier for me to just do it myself, because I mean, I know what I'm doing and I know how to do it. And I just feel like it's just easier for me just to do it, and don't have to walk somebody through how to do something or anything like that. But
if you're going to start a trucking business and keep growing your excavation business, you're going to have to change that mindset to a teaching process.
Yeah.
You can't do it all. You won't be able to do it all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like and I've never got rid of anybody just because of mistakes or whatever. I mean, if they've ever left, it's because they've either went to go, better themselves, or they went to whatever the case might be. But I mean, everybody always left, to better their life. And I always told them, I said, I'll never be mad ever for somebody ever trying to better their life. I was like, you, more power to you, and I'll do whatever I can to help you out. And, pretty much thanks for your help. I appreciate it. And, hope everything works out for you, so.
Yeah, I love that.
But I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I said, it was kind of like what you were saying. I mean, you got to teach, and that's just how it is. And, I can sit here and teach them all day long, but if they're not in there running that excavator or whatever, I mean, they're not going to learn. So
right.
They just got to get in there and do it. I mean, it's kind of bad to say, but you just got to get in and do it yourself. I mean, you just got to learn it yourself and learn how controls are and how everything feels. And you just got to play with it more or less. But,
yep. Absolutely, man. So for everybody out there listening to the podcast, I'm going to kind of guide you into your answer on this, but like, I always like to ask like one piece of advice for everyone out there listening for that. And I think one of the areas that I think you have some good advice on would be like your being debt free.
Yeah.
Like what's the importance of that to you? What's the value in your business for that? What has it allowed you to do the last few years? Like talk about that for real quick and we'll wrap up.
Oh yeah. So yeah, being debt free, man, I think that's everything to me. I mean, I know not everybody can do that. You know, starting out, you got to get in debt. You know, most time, I mean, it's almost impossible to not be in debt at some point in time in your life. And like I said, I mean, I still got debt. I mean, I got, you know, obviously I own my house and stuff like that, but the business side of it, you know, it's all, you know, it's paid for. But that there has tremendously helped me out just in everything, because I mean, everything that I make now, I mean, it's all profit. You know, I can just keep dumping that money into a big, you know, to a bank account or whatever. And, you know, if I want to go out and buy another piece of equipment, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to at least be able to put a good down payment on something or whatever it may be. But being debt free is 100%. That's key. It's opened it's opened me and my family's life up too. You know, I was able to go out and buy a camper and pay the camper off. And I mean, a lot of things. I was able to go out, you know, do a bunch of work to our house and have have all that stuff paid off. I mean, it's been the starting that up was the best thing I could have ever done. And I only wish I would have done it sooner, but obviously I didn't have the money. So, but like I said, being debt free though, I think that should be everybody's goal, because once you start getting to that level or that point in your life where you start seeing everything you're making and it's all profit. You're not making a $900 skid steer payment or a $2,000 traco payment or $15,000 yearly traco payment. You know, that means everything, because you know that's all money. You know that's your money now, and that's your equipment. You own it. Nobody can take it from you, and you know as long as it's running, it's making you money. So
I think that's great. And for me, I'm just going to expand on that real quickly, but like, I feel like you make better decisions.
You do.
When you're not pressed to make that $900 for the payment. And that's only one piece of equipment. And then you got the truck and the trailer and the insurance and 2 more. And now you're at $5-6 grand a month. Like you start taking jobs or risks that actually create compound problems instead of growing the business.
Yeah. And I've seen so many guys out here, and I've had some buddies that they've done. I mean, I've seen so many guys out here, and I don't know if it's just because they see, you know, some of us guys out here that are doing it. And I guess I don't know if they think we're just making it a killing or what, but you know, they go out here and they'll buy a brand new skid steer or with a brand new force mulcher on the front of it or whatever. And, you know, they're already out. They're out $2,000 a month just off that. You know, they're paying $120,000 for a skid steer and a mulcher. And then on top of that, you know, you gotta have a truck to pull it. You gotta have a trailer to pull it. You're 250,000 in the hole right off the gate real quick. And when you're trying, you know, like you said, you got $4,000 or $5,000 a month of bills coming out just on your business, not even counting your house payment, you know, probably your wife's car, all your rent. I mean, it is insane. And every one of these guys I've seen that's went out here and done that, they don't even make it a year and they're done. They sell out because you just can't physically do it. And in today's world, I honestly don't even think it's possible to go ahead and buy all this brand new stuff if you're trying to start out, because you're never going to get it. But
and what do you gain by buying brand new? I mean, peace of mind, or you to say you bought a new piece of equipment. Like for me, like I never buy a brand new truck. You got a warranty, you know? I never buy a brand new truck. Like I want to buy a truck that's 2 to 3 years old. I want to save that massive amount off the sticker price, and then I'll I bought my truck for $57,000. It was 2 years old, the F-350 diesel. I just paid $4,000 for the Ford warranty that covered it for another 60,000 miles. And everyone's like, why'd you spend $4,000 on that? I'm like, because I saved 30,000 off the purchase price, and I don't know how the guy drove it. Like, 4,000 to me is an insurance policy versus buying brand new. Like, I'd rather spend the 4 on that than the 30 on the sticker price.
Yeah, all day. Yeah. Like I said, I just don't see how these guys will go out here and do it. And like I said, I mean, from what I've seen, it's living proof that, I mean, it's hard. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it is going to be severely hard on you, because, I mean, when you have to have, $6,000-7,000 a month just to cover your butt to stay afloat, you're going to crash, and you can't guarantee you're going to get that. I mean, you don't know. There might be one month you might only make $500. I mean, you just don't know. You never know. So, I mean, that was my biggest thing, and I knew I wasn't going to go out here and buy anything brand new, because I knew as soon as I started going out here buying brand new, I was just going to start going down from there. And you might look good out there doing something, but I could care less how I look. If my stuff's paid off and I'm making the same amount of money as this guy with brand new stuff, and I'm out here doing it with my stuff, I mean, it's paid off. I'm the one winning in my book. He's the one. He's got to pay the bank back, or But I mean, obviously, I'm hoping one of these days I can get brand new stuff, and But as of right now, though, keep it open, simple. It's easy to work on. So, but
well, I think that's great advice, man.
But I mean, I don't know. I just like my old stuff. It's paid off, and like I said, the money I make off of it, it's mine, and I get to keep it, and I don't have to make that payment. So that's kind of where I'm at. But like I said, I've just seen too many people crash and burn and buying brand new stuff, and from the way I've seen, it's just like with a forestry mulcher. I don't think I've hardly ever had anybody ever call me saying, "Hey, you got a forestry mulcher? I got some woods. I need." Like I just don't have, like, they just don't call me for that. And I don't know if it's just because they just don't think I do it or what, which I don't. But I've never even like thought about even buying one, because I've just never had the workload to justify to even buy one. I've maybe had 3 or 4 phone calls in the last 3 or 4 years. If somebody even asked me if I even have one, I mean, and the odds of them, even if you have one, the odds of them even paying you the $200 an hour or whatever to even run it are slim to none. So I just couldn't ever justify buying one. And
yeah, I'm a big proponent of selling the service before you buy the equipment. Like go line up 4, 5, 6 jobs before you make a massive investment in the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And because then like you're also testing the market to make sure that there's a market for this. Like just because you get a call for one job with it doesn't mean you're going to get 20 more.
Yeah, you're right.
Go out there and check the market before you invest in a new expensive equipment to start a new service type.
Yeah. And if I had a bunch of people call me saying, "Hey man, what you had a forestry mulcher, man, you come clean up my place." If I had a bunch of people call me saying that, I would for sure buy one. But
yeah, like a utility company calls you and says, "I want you to give you a contract for some right of way clearing." You'd be like, "All right, I'm in. I'll invest in that because it's a contract." But without that, why have the equipment sitting there looking pretty in the yard?
Exactly. I mean, it's just not. It's just silly to me. I would never do it, but I don't know. And I don't know if there's just so many guys around here that do it or what. But I mean, as far as I know, I don't think there's anybody even around me that even does it. So around here, I guess it's more or less people just want a dozer run up through there, clear it out, and that's just kind of how it is around here. They're just going to have a dozer come up in there and clear it out, but I don't know. I guess the more areas closer to bigger cities and stuff, I guess you're probably going to be able to stay more busy around there because you got more parks and more stuff like that. But
and again, what we talked about earlier, Ryan, it's knowing your market. Like Hawesville, Kentucky is way different than the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
The customer needs are way different. And if you're looking at Facebook social media posts of these guys doing all these projects all over the country and you're going to do that in your town, that's a foolish way to grow your business. You need to be looking at your town.
Yeah.
And finding what the market needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, everywhere's different. I mean, it's just, and like I said, around here, the guys around here, they just assume have a dozer come up in here and just clear it out. Versus, paying $200 an hour for a mulcher, to come in here and mulch it up. Which, don't get me wrong, it looks pretty when it's done, but I mean, these guys, they're going to rather pay you $120 an hour on that dozer versus $200 on that skid steer all day long. And you're going to get it done twice as fast. I mean, let's just be honest. So,
yeah. And then we always joke about it too. Like, if you want to specialize in like gravel driveway installation and maintenance, and you live in the city of Chicago, you're going to go broke real fast.
Yeah. I mean, you're just not going
like there's no gravel driveways, right? So it's again, knowing your market, and it's just take some time, look around, study your competitors, study what the people have. Like, are you living in towns? Are they more rural? Or is there massive septic systems everywhere? Or are they all on city? Like, learn your area. Like, do you get torrential downflows? Do you have huge hillsides? Is erosion a big problem? Because if it's not, then don't specialize in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah, you gotta know where you're at. You gotta know, what everybody's gonna be wanting done around your area. And around here, it's people building houses, and it's, so I mean, you got tons of lots to clear out, pads to level out for houses, people building garages all the time. And I mean, you kind of get a little bit of everything around here. So that's kind of what's good,
Awesome.
but
Well, Ryan, thanks so much for taking some time out of your vacation there, jumping out of the camper early this morning and jumping on a call. I appreciate it.
no problem, man. Anytime. So yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me out.
No, absolutely. It was a great conversation. And, just to kind of recap, if you want it, go fight for it, find a way to get what you need.
Yeah, there's always a way.
And then save a little money on the backside because something's going to break down when you move forward. So,
yep.
Awesome, my friend. Well, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem, man. Thank you. So,
all right. Well, guys, this episode was brought to you. If you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast, just a little reminder that in addition to Skid Steer Nation, we also own a company called Groundbreaking Growth. It's a coaching and consulting business where we work with excavation business owners. So if you hear what we're talking about, if the way that I view business resonates with you, you can go to groundbreakinggrowth.com. You can learn a little bit about what the program entails. And you can see if working with me and my team to help you structure and grow your business is a right fit for you. So yeah, check it out. You can always schedule a call to have a conversation with me directly from the website. And we can try to help you grow and systemize your business so that you can reach your benchmarks and your goals over the next 3 to 5 years. So thanks for listening. And until the next episode, keep your hands on the sticks and the buckets in the dirt, fellas.